How fast can an unsecured cab drop when hydraulic pressure fails? A mechanic works under the elevated cab of a heavy truck. The cab is tilted fully forward, exposing the engine bay, but no secondary safety prop is installed. As he reaches into the frame, the tilt system suddenly gives way. The multi-ton cab slams backward into its locked position, trapping the worker beneath the frame before he can react. Never trust hydraulic pressure to hold an overhead load while you work underneath. When tilting a truck cab, engage the safety lock pin and position a mechanical prop before placing any part of your body in the pinch zone. Hydraulics raise the weight, but mechanical locks keep you safe. How secure is the temporary bridge under your feet? Two workers carry a heavy panel across a single narrow plank, spanning a deep excavation trench. Without handrails or a stable surface, carrying bulky materials leaves no margin for error. The trailing worker loses his balance near the edge, drops the load, and falls directly into the open trench below. Never walk or transport materials across unapproved, improvised gangways over open excavations. Proper trench safety requires secured walkways with double guardrails and clear load paths before any work begins. Solid footings save lives. What happens when a slow-moving agricultural load tries to beat an active crossing signal? A tractor towing two long trailers of round hay bales enters a railroad crossing. As the heavy rig creeps over the tracks, the automatic barrier arms descend directly onto the cargo. The driver keeps moving forward, trying to clear the tracks in time, but the rear trailer remains exposed on the rails when a high-speed passenger train arrives, colliding with the rear trailer and scattering the cargo. Never risk entering a railway-level crossing when hauling long or slow-moving loads without verifying full clearance time. Always yield immediately when crossing signals activate, and never attempt to beat descending barrier arms. Active signals mean the train is already too close. How much stored energy can a tensioned cable hold before it snaps back? 4 workers stand directly in line, using manual lever poles to force a heavy steel cable into position. They pull together, putting all their body weight into the line. But tension under load is unpredictable. The cable connection slips and releases instantly, launching the entire crew back into the brush as the line whips free. Never stand in the direct line of fire of a cable under tension. When tensioning wire ropes or cables, always maintain a clear exclusion zone and use rated mechanical winches from a safe distance. Stored mechanical energy must be respected, or it will choose where it releases. Step out of the line of fire every single time. Standing on the edge of an open loading dock might feel natural, but one misstep changes everything. Watch this worker reach across the bay gap to force open a container door. He leans his weight outward without a stable base or dock bridge beneath him. When the force shifts, his feet lose traction, pulling him straight into the space between the trailer and the dock ledge. Never attempt to adjust or swing heavy truck doors while standing on an unguarded loading dock edge. Always secure a dock plate across the gap, or lock out the vehicle positioning before working near the bay edge. Dock edges demand full stability and 0 compromises. Maintain your footing before handling the load. Would you spot an overhead hazard before touching a metal gate? Watch this worker walk up to a tall metal security frame near the yard entrance. He reaches up to adjust the heavy iron gate structure by hand. As he extends the frame upward, the metal tip makes direct contact with an uninsulated overhead electrical line. The sudden electrical shock drops him backward onto the ground. Never move tall conductive structures near overhead power lines without checking clearance distances first. Keep all metal gates, ladders, and scaffolding well clear of utility lines, and always inspect overhead spaces before handling tall equipment. Overhead hazards are silent until contact is made. Maintain safe clearance on every shift. What happens when a hazardous leak isn't contained instantly? Watch the far left lane as this tanker stops at the toll booth. Dense gas begins pouring from the valves, creating a thick white vapor cloud. Instead of clearing the area, traffic keeps passing through nearby lanes. The vapor expands across the entire plaza floor. Seconds later, a static spark or hot engine ignites the cloud, setting the structure ablaze. When a hazardous material leak occurs in a public or transit area, stop traffic and clear the zone immediately. Never allow vehicles to idle near an expanding vapor cloud. Recognize hazardous chemical releases early, shut down surrounding ignition sources, and evacuate downwind areas. Fast emergency evacuation saves lives when containment fails. Can you spot the danger lurking directly above your workstation? Watch this machine operator sitting right beside a metal press, focusing on his work. His coworker walks over, and he steps away for just a moment. Suddenly, an entire overhead stack of heavy steel components gives way, crashing directly onto the stool he was just sitting on. Never position an active workstation beneath unsecured stacked materials. Heavy components stored at height must be locked into engineered racking, with retaining barriers to prevent accidental displacement. Inspect overhead storage daily, and keep work areas clear of fall hazards. Safe storage overhead keeps workers safe on the ground. Riding on top of a high cargo load can end in seconds. A worker sits atop stacked bags on a flatbed truck as it drives through the loading yard. He stays upright, unaware of the structural frame directly ahead. As the vehicle passes beneath an overhead conveyor, there is no overhead clearance. The metal frame contacts him, knocking him off the moving truck onto the ground below. Never ride on top of open flatbeds or stacked cargo. Always travel inside the vehicle cabin with your seatbelt secured. When moving loaded trucks through a yard, verify all overhead clearances before driving. Proper seating and height awareness keep every transport operation safe. How fast can an improper turn flip a 10-ton forklift? Watch this operator pull a heavy double-stacked pallet off the bed of a flatbed trailer. Instead of lowering his mast first, he reverses with the load raised high into the air. As he turns the wheel sharply, the center of gravity shifts outside the stability triangle. The machine tips sideways, dumping the entire load onto the pavement. Never travel or turn with your forks elevated. Before moving or turning a forklift, lower your load to 3 to 4 inches off the ground to keep your center of gravity low and stable. Speed and height create instability every single time. Keep loads low, move slow, and stay upright. A pressurized line can transform into an unpredictable hazard in a fraction of a second. Look at this worker manually holding a concrete pump hose over a trench. Suddenly, trapped air builds up inside the line. The hose violently whips out of his control, knocking him down as debris spews across the site. Never manually hold or wrestle a pressurized concrete discharge hose. Secure flexible hoses with safety tethers or whip socks to prevent whipping during pressure surges. Before the final clip, there's something you might be interested in. I've put together over 1,000 raw accident clips in one collection, so you can explore the footage beyond what's normally shown in edited videos. The link is in the description if you want to check it out. Number 1. Entering an unprotected trench can turn fatal in seconds. 2 construction workers stand at the bottom of a deep, muddy pit, breaking up soil with hand pickaxes beneath an active excavator. The unstable bank suddenly gives way. Tons of loose dirt slide into the trench, trapping one worker instantly beneath the cave-in. Never step inside an excavation deeper than 5 feet without proper trench protection. Always install protective shoring. Use a trench shield or slope back the side walls before anyone enters the pit. Unstabilized dirt walls can collapse without warning. Protect the trench first or stay out completely.